Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. This video is going to be about fire safety and emergency preparedness. So not too long ago, a good friend of mine, Aaron Ashby, had decided that he was going to gift us some things for our baby boy coming to our life. And he works for a company called Superior Fire Safety, and he deals with selling fire alarms and stuff like that, and fire safety equipment. And he had some stuff that he wanted to give us as a, for baby presents. And it actually ended up buying some stuff off of him. He had some stuff to give to us, but then two, also to, get us, better prepared within the fire stuff. He also put on this little presentation thing for us and showed us some different stuff. And it's pretty eye-opening. Even having some knowledge of this stuff, still some of it was still pretty eye-opening, and I ended up really liking this fire extinguisher, which I'll save the fire extinguisher for last, but I ended up buying these off of him because I like these things so much. But the rest of this stuff he just gave to us, and when he came over, I saw the bats, and I thought, oh cool, you got some bats for us, and I just thought, bats for for little kids and stuff, but it's actually it's called a fire bat, and this is meant to be able to break your window out and then rake the window. So if you're not familiar with breaching windows or anything like that, on top of breaking out the windows, you also want to rake it and get all the sharp panes and stuff like that off out of the bottom and the sides. That way, as you go through the window, you're not cutting yourself up. So this bat serves that purpose. You just whack, knock the window out, and then you take it and you run it across the windowsill to the bottom and to the top, go all around the edges, and you just knock all that glass out. That way, as you go through that window, you don't have a little piece of glass sticking up that's going to gut you as you crawl out. So he gave us a couple of these, and one went in the baby's room, another one went in our bedroom. So the other benefit to it is, aside from it being a fire safety tool, it's also an improvised weapon. It's wood, and this across someone's head, it's going to make them think twice about being in my house unwelcomed. So, but I've got other things to use first in the event that someone's in my house. But its main purpose is to, like I said, break that window out and then rake it so that it's safe to crawl out. So we got a couple of those. Start with the fire blanket. So this fire blanket is originally meant to be used in a kitchen, and you just take this big, probably Kevlar, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm sure it probably says on the blanket box or thing here somewhere. No, it doesn't say what it is. But Kevlar is using a lot of stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kevlar. But it's got a big blanket inside here, and you just spread it open. I'm not going to take it out and spread it open because it's kind of like one of those little CPR pocket masks. Like once you take it out, you'll never be able to fold it back up correctly again. But like I said, it was originally meant to be used in the kitchen. So if you get a grease fire or something like that, you take that blanket out, spread it out, and throw it on top. And it robs the fire of all of its oxygen. And while it's robbing it of its oxygen, it doesn't, catch the blanket on fire and add more fuel. So we're not using this in the kitchen, and instead we're keeping it in the baby's room. And the reason why we're doing that is, well, it was his idea. Through his experience in selling these things, he came across a woman who wanted an extra one to not only keep in the kitchen, but also keep in her baby's room. And he said that kind of inspired him to start giving these things to people who've got kids in the house, to keep it in the kids' room, so that in the event of the fire, you can take that blanket out, wrap them up in it, and protect them from any thermal burns. I had thought about actually getting like an actual fire blanket, one that you can sleep with. In the event of a fire, you can take that blanket and wrap yourself up in it and protect you from burns. I haven't got it, but this is going to fit the bill for that. So Pretty cool product. These two things, the emergency burn kit, this comes from Burn Free Global, so it's burnfree.com. This is called Global Health Emergency First Aid Burn Kit. So I think Burn Free is a product name, a brand name of something, I guess. I'm not really sure. But inside it just has some burn-related first aid stuff. It's got a couple bottles of this cooling burn gel. It's got some of these bandages in here. It's got about 3 or 4 of these things. These are sterile burn and wound dressings. Has a clear gel formula in it, and this is, of course, you can't tell through the video, but it's got fluid in there. So I'm imagining it's probably got this gel stuff in there. So it's just a regular bandage inside there that's just soaked with this clear gel stuff. So there's like 2 or 3 of those in there, and then there's a bunch of these little packets in here. Oops, drop that. So I guess, these little packets are for, 4th of July kind of incidents where, you held on to the sparkler for too long, or you didn't duck fast enough to avoid the Roman candle. I don't know. But it's got some small burn gel packets in there. So it's got some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to basically gut this box. I'm going to take these components out, and I'm going to split it up between a couple kits. Some of the stuff is going to go in the pediatric trauma bag that I did a video on, and then the other stuff is, or the rest of the stuff is going to go in another trauma bag. This emergency preparedness and first aid kit from Rescue First is actually a pretty decent little kit. It has all this stuff in it that's listed on the back. Double zipper, and it comes with a little tiny carabiner on it. That way you can hang it on something or use the carabiner for whatever you need. Inside you got several little sealed bags, bandages. So this lists all the bandages that it has in there. It's got a knuckle, fingertip, elbow. It's got spot bandages, some different sized bandages. Auto. So this has an accident report guide and a call 911 emergency flag. So I don't know what the guide thing is, but on the back here has emergency phone numbers. So maybe not using this form provided. I do think that having emergency phone numbers hard written down is a good idea, because who's to say that you don't lose your phone, or your phone gets wet and goes tits up. And if that happens, I don't know about you, but I don't remember phone numbers very well anymore. Have not been remembering phone numbers very well since cell phones have become so popular. But it has some spots in here to be able to put those things down. It has this call 911 emergency flag, which you can kind of see in the back here. It's like a yellow and black kind of design back there. I'm assuming it says call 911 on there, and it's probably meant to be placed on a car antenna, or maybe stretched across your windshield or something like that, or put in your side doors and you pin it in by closing the door. I know a lot of vehicles now don't have the quintessential antenna that sticks all the way up like a flagpole, so there's got to be something in there to help it stay up, other than using it on a flagpole style of antenna. Disaster. It's got a whistle, a light stick, an AM/FM radio, and a pair of AAA batteries. So that's actually pretty cool. It has a little AM/FM radio in there. The batteries, I'm not sure if these are lithium or not. All it says is extra heavy duty. Anytime you've got batteries in an emergency kit, you want those batteries to be lithium batteries. Lithium batteries are going to hold a charge for a longer period of time. If you put lithium batteries on the shelf for 10 years and then use them, it's still going to retain a 70% charge. That's pretty damn good. They don't sweat like alkaline batteries do. So if you've ever had some type of electronic device that you had some alkaline batteries in, and it kind of set for a while, and then you went back and tried to use it and it didn't work, and you wanted to change the batteries, and you see this battery acid crap, leaked out all inside. Lithiums don't really do that. Also, lithiums perform very well under cold temperatures. So if you've ever tried to operate some type of electronic device that had alkaline batteries in it and use it in the winter, you would notice a degradation in its performance. With lithium, you get good performance in very cold weather. So an old trick used to be in cold weather, and all you had was alkaline batteries. You take those batteries and you put them up on your armpit or somewhere in your body where there's going to be a lot of heat, and warm those batteries up so that when you put it in your electronics work at a better performance, like a handheld GPS or something. But if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you shouldn't have to worry about that, because you should have lithium batteries. But if you come across some alkaline battery somewhere and you're needing to utilize some type of electronic device and don't need bad performance, stick those batteries on your armpit for 20 minutes or something like that. Get them warmed up and then put them in the device, and they'll be working like new. It won't be sluggish like it would be if it was just cold batteries. Anyway, moving on. First aid: sterile eye pad, a combine pad, sponges, roller gauze, triangular bandage. Medications: 20 antiseptic tablets and 4 first aid burn cream packets. Components: says plastic tweezers, safety pins, a CPR breathing barrier, instant cold compress, medical grade gloves, emergency first aid guide. So the first aid guides always make me laugh, because you should be knowing how to use this stuff. Like, you shouldn't have to open a kit and then all right, let me read these instructions on how to put a fucking bandage on. But for those people who are, whatever, they have a first aid guide in here. First aid tape roll, scissors, wooden finger splints, cotton tip applicators, and then this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one. Emergency. So we got an emergency blanket poncho, thermometer strip, and an H1N1 3-ply mask. So it actually got pretty good amount of stuff inside this little pouch right here. And one thing I think is pretty cool about these individual packets is it has a QR code on there. That way, if you rip one of these things open and you use it, well, you just take your smart device, scan the code, and reorder another one. I actually think that's kind of cool. Throw this stuff off to the side. Now, last but not least are the fire extinguishers. Now, you may be thinking, what's so special about a fire extinguisher? Well, these are Halotron fire extinguishers. I ended up getting a couple of these. If you go to any public place, whether it be a shopping center, hospital, whatever, and you see fire extinguishers on the wall, those are most likely going to be your ABC style fire extinguishers. And inside those fire extinguishers is a dry chemical. It's a powder. And when you aim your fire extinguisher at the fire, and you squeeze and sweep left or right, it just blows a bunch of powder out. And that powder, it sucks when you breathe it in. And that's how most of those fire extinguishers are. Now, there's other types of fire extinguishers. You have water fire extinguishers. It's just a can that's pressurized and has water in it. Nothing special, right? And then there's fire extinguishers for using on electronics. Like, you have an electrical fire. There's special fire extinguishers to use for when certain metals are on fire, like magnesium or whatever. There's a special fire extinguisher for that. You have your CO2 fire extinguishers that It was the ones with the big hose on the end, and you spray stuff, and you can have the cold stuff on it. I lost my words. Anyway, CO2 fire extinguishers, and then you got these Halotron fire extinguishers, and Halotron is, I guess you could say, basically, well, inside it's a liquid inside, but once it comes out, it basically turns into a gas. So I could take this right now and hold it here and spray in that direction, and nothing over there is going to get wet. Now you can hold this a certain way and put a container over it and spray it and collect a liquid, which is something that my buddy did during his demonstration. He took this and he fired it into a glass jar and collected probably about that much liquid at the bottom. And this Halotron gas, what it does is it basically dissipates oxygen. And so with that glass jar sitting on the table, lit a match and held the match to the very top of the jar, and the match went out. There was no oxygen there for it to continue to burn. Why is that important? Well, the ABC powder that's in those type of fire extinguishers, it sucks when you breathe that crap in. So several years back, and when I say stuff like that, it really makes me think about how old I'm getting. And when I say several years, I mean like the early 2000s. So it's probably like 2005, maybe 2004. Probably, yeah, one of those. Whew, long time ago. I remember going to a call. It was a house fire. And I get there, and there's no fire trucks on scene. And these people have a kitchen fire going on. So it's a house, and I get there. I'm the only one there. There's no fire trucks there, and it's just a kitchen fire. And I go over to the door, and I see that there's a fire inside the kitchen. Like the cabinets are on fire. The fire is going up, hitting the ceiling, and it's kind of doing the little snaking across the ceiling thing that fire does. And I had no idea how long it was going to take the fire trucks to get there. And this is way out, not way out, but it's out in the county, so it's a volunteer area. And I just remember thinking, shit, I'm going to have to sit here and watch these people's house burn. And I have a fire extinguisher in my vehicle, so I went and got it. Came back to that side door, and their kitchen was to the back of the house, but they had a side door that kind of went into the kitchen. And stood there at the doorway, pulled the pin on the extinguisher, and before this I had never fired a fire extinguisher before. I just knew, you pull the pin, it's pass, right? Pull the pin, aim, squeeze the handle, and go swipe left to right, and you aim at the base of the fire. So I did all that. Well, and I knew that it had a powder in there, but since I've never fired one off before, I just didn't really fully understand. I wouldn't say fully understand, but I didn't fully know what to expect when this stuff comes out. So I aim it at the fire, and it's not that the cabinets weren't that far away from the door. I spray it, and powder comes out, and it knocks the fire down pretty good. But it also knocks me down pretty good too, because that powder, once you breathe that shit in, holy hell, that takes it out of you. Which is why I recommend, in an active killer type of scenario, in a place where you don't have a gun or something like that, like a school or whatever, to use a fire extinguisher as a weapon to defend yourself with. Because one, the powder in it, once you spray somebody with it, if they were trying to come after you and you hit them in the face with this powder, one, you're going to cause instantaneous eye closure, and then two, you're going to cause some breathing problems for them, and they're not going to be too interested in fucking with you anymore. They will once they regain themselves, but spraying this in someone's face is definitely going to give you enough time to react, because while they're doubled over, coughing, having trouble breathing, that's going to give you time to get the hell out of there. And then secondly, the container itself, you can use this to bash somebody over the head with. But anyway, breathing the powder in, man, it freaking sucks. And when you think about, a house fire, you're in your room or whatever, fire alarm's going off and you come out in the hallway trying to make your escape, you fire off a regular fire extinguisher. Well, one, the smoke from that fire that's in the house is already going to be enough to screw with you. Once you set one of these fire extinguishers off, well, that's really going to screw with you then. That's just going to be like floating and being kind of suspended in the air a little bit, and it's going to cause more visibility problems. It's going to cause you a whole lot of breathing problems. You're not going to be able to breathe very well in it. And then if it's something like a simple kitchen fire or whatever, and you set one of those things off, well, now you're going to have to do cleanup, right? And that powder stuff gets everywhere. And it's kind of like stripper glitter. Like, it takes a lot to get it all to go away. So the cool thing about the Halotron is you don't get that powder crap that comes out and screws with your breathing. Now, of course, it does dissipate the oxygen within that area, but at least you're able to pass through that area and not freaking feel like you're going to choke to death in that powder, and then it affect your ability to be able to go through an area. Because you could, before setting off an ABC fire extinguisher, be able to see somewhat okay and breathe somewhat okay. But then once you set that thing off, you're freaking done. Like, your escape path is no longer a path that you can take. So that's where the Halotron comes in. It knocks out the fire, takes the oxygen away from the fire, and then you're able to go pass through that area and then not freaking choke to death on the ABC powder. Also for things like a simple kitchen fire. Setting this thing off, there's no extensive cleanup. I mean, the only thing you got to clean up is the fire damage itself. So if you caught a cabinet on fire and you set this thing off and you knock the fire out, well, that's all you got to do. You just got to replace the cabinet and maybe do some cleaning for smoke damage. You're not going to have to spend a whole lot of time cleaning all this powder crap out because it doesn't leave a powder. So, yeah, this Halotron, actually a pretty cool product. This is what we ended up buying off of him because I just really liked the concept of it and the demonstration of it. I thought it was a really cool product. It was one of those things. It was like, oh, gotta have it. Here, take my money. That's about it. So I wish I would have remembered some of the statistical information, but although there have been great advancements over the years with fire prevention, there's still quite a few people who die in house fires. And you need to have a plan, right? You need to have a fire plan in place. And then you got to have some stuff in place, some equipment in place to be able to help get you out. And just, one of the biggest things that ends up getting people is people going back inside the house. Either A, because they're going to look for people, or B, they're going in there for material things. Material things, fuck it. Write it off. There's no sense in going in and dying over a TV or an Xbox or whatever. People, that's where the plan comes into play. So if fire happens and you're able to get out the front door, but your family is able to get out the back door, then you all should know that you go meet at the mailbox, or you go meet at the swing, or wherever your designated meeting place is. You all know to go there, because if not, if you escape out the front and they escape out the back, but you don't know they escaped out the back, then you could find yourself trying to go back in through the front to go find them because you're thinking they're still in there, and when really they're not. They're just hanging out in the backyard. And maybe thinking the same thing about you, like, hey, they're not out here. And that would obviously alleviate potential injuries and deaths. So having a good plan in place in the event of a fire, and doing some fire prevention, cleaning out your fire lint duct and your dryer lint duct, cleaning that out, not storing like creamer and stuff like that over your stove, or not storing things like vegetable oil and other grease and stuff above the stove. That way, if you do get a grease fire or something like that and the cabinets catch fire, it doesn't help aid in making that fire go hotter. So, little things like that to make the house safer, and having tools in place so that there is a fire, you can deal with that effectively. Maybe not so much putting the fire out to save your house, but getting out of the fire, getting out of the house, or creating safe passage through an area that's kind of on fire and being able to get out. with your hide still intact.
If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.